I want to welcome you back to Black Site, and tonight we're going to talk about the New York Times Magazine article on reparations written by Nicole Hannah Jones. This article was well written, it was lengthy, but it omitted some people. YVETTE CARNELL and TONETALKS revived the reparations movement. We know many others have talked about it in the past, but the ADOS movement started this train going. And not to give those two credit or not to involve them in this New York Times Magazine article was absolutely terrible. This shows you that the New York Times, the Joe Biden campaign, and so many others don't like the ADOS movement, the FBA movement, and the B1 movement. Those who were truly behind the reparations movement. Yes, they involved Sandy Darity out of Duke, who talked about reparations for the past 30 years, who talked about the racial wealth gap. And he expressed this is why reparations is owed to the American people. But not to talk to YVETTE CARNELL and TONETALKS, not to give them the floor to explain why reparations is so important to Black America. They go off, she goes off into a tangent and starts talking about BLM, Black Lives Matter, who never really embraced the reparations movement. If you look at their website, you don't see much about reparations. You see things about transgenders, you see things about the Palestinians, but you really don't see them ever talk about reparations. Yes, they want to talk about police reform, but reparations is the key to our community being revived. It's the key for addressing, for them not giving us 40 acres in the move. It's a key from bridging that racial wealth gap in America. But not to have the two key people who know the issues, who know how to put them in context and explain them, not only to Black America, but to America. But you have to understand who's in control. It's the New York Times. See, the New York Times want to control the issue, but they also want the people, they want to put the issue in context. Now, I'm not throwing shots at Nicole Hannah Jones, but I think this article would have been written better if YVETTE CARNELL or TONETALKS had written this article, because they have been on the front lines for the past 4 or 5 years with the ADOS movement. See, we have to understand that when you're starting a movement like ADOS FBA and they don't like the people who lead the movement, they will try and replace with other people like a Nicole Hannah Jones. They will go ask a Joy Reid. They will go ask all these other individuals who spent no time reviving this movement. But they don't want to talk about ADOS because ADOS is talking about putting restrictions on who gets reparations. It was some keen I seen in this article Nicole Hannah Jones wrote. She said, any person who has a relative, one relative that can go back to slavery, they can get reparations. Well, I heard AOC the other day saying that most Hispanics have to understand that they are Black. Now, why would she say that? And why would so many other Hispanic groups start claiming they're Black? Because if they feel as though any reparation payments are coming out, they want a piece of the pie. It's similar to the $5 Indians. You paid $5, you became an Indian, you got land, you got reparations. And you have to be extremely dangerous when people like Nicole Hannah-Jones makes up who's qualified for reparations. Because all of a sudden, you will see white people going to Ancestor.com claiming that they have a black ancestor and getting billions of dollars worth of reparations. That's not how it's going to be. And another reason why they don't like Yvette CARNELL, Tone Talks, FBA, B1, it's because they feel as though these people or organizations are xenophobic. No, we're not xenophobic. We are black first. And see, they don't want to hear that. See, we're not into the trans movement. We're not into the DACA movement. We're not into the illegal amnesty movement. We're into the black first movement, the ADOS movement, the FBA movement. And many of those progressive liberals who happen to be in power don't like these movements. So they love to mention BLM because BLM is an all-encompassing left-wing progressive agenda that they can get behind. See, BLM represents everything. Illegal immigration, transgender, the alphabet community agenda. All these agendas that we really don't give a damn about because I feel as though those communities have enough resources to fight for themselves. So they will basically turn a blind eye to those who have led this movement from the darkness to the light. See, you have to understand, not much difference between the left wing and the right wing. All of them want to put forward a person they can control and who can control the agenda in the black community. See, they don't want Yvette CARNELL, Tone Talks, Jason Black, TARIQ NASHEED, or any other person in our community sitting at that table with Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer asking for reparations. They want somebody in there like a Nicole Hannah-Jones. They want a Joy Reid or Al Sharpton. Okay? They want those type of people at the table. Someone they can control. Someone they can take and change the agenda to where these reparations, you better be careful, might turn into all-encompassing reparations. In which I mean, yes, we will give them to blacks, but we'll also give them to the LGBTQ community. We will also give them to the Hispanics, the Asians, and as my man would say, the humpbacks, the Palladians, and any other group that will say, give us our reparations. We must be careful. We must be careful because at this period of time, you see that the Democrat Party and liberals are riding the wave of George Floyd's death. And they may ride themselves into power with the black vote. But if we do not stand up right now and say, if we don't receive reparations, you will not receive our vote on November 3rd. We will be casting aside the greatest time in history to get what is owed to us. And that's what she said as the headline of this article. Black people have to understand timing is everything, and time is now for reparations. Those who have fought for this issue, Tone Talks, Yvette CARNELL, deserves the credit, and they deserve to write this article. Don't let the mass media control who speaks to you and who gives you information. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I hope you subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, and share this video.